Step 6. Review and Reflection. There are always things to learn and improve, and this is true for the Aflatoun program. We provide monitoring and evaluation tools to help you measure outputs and outcomes. Remember that it's about learning and improving the program. You'll now hear about how partners have undergone their own process of review and reflection.
Well, I think first of all, you should try and assemble a team, no matter how small, even if it's 2 or 3 people, and bring in some people from the university, if you can. I think it's not something that is it's not a very simple process. So I don't think people should underestimate the process of monitoring and evaluation. They should take it very seriously. You know, not too seriously, of course, but seriously enough, because we're not all trained in methodology. You know, I have the advantage of having been trained in research methodology, so I can take care of that. But moving forward and passing the program on to my staff, I know that I have to bring in other people. So first of all, bring together a team of people that has some knowledge of monitoring and evaluation. Second of all, make sure that your volunteers and your team members are trained specifically how to do this survey. And before you start implementing the survey, go through your curriculum and see if what you want as an organization and maybe as a country to achieve is reflected in the survey. Because once you do the pre-survey is done. You can't come back later midway and say, oh, we want to measure these outcomes, because the pre-survey is done. And once you've done the pre-survey, that's the end. They start learning, and then you can't really measure the pre and post. So make sure that the survey fits your program. It reflects. If you're working on the environment, put some questions on the environment, add them in. If you're working on health, make sure you add some questions to the survey and make sure it's okay. And then I think lastly, just make sure that you have a team make sure you have a timeline for it, because there can be a lot of problems along the way. So don't say you're going to go out today and that's the only day you have for the survey. Give yourself breathing room and give yourself space before the implementation of the curriculum. Don't say we're going to start implementing the curriculum next week, we're going to do the survey this week. No, give yourself 2 or 3 weeks to make sure you can cover all the bases and then be ready to proceed then.
So monitoring and evaluation, in fact including the supervision, is the whole mandate is to assist the teacher and to support the children so that they have a comfortably and child-friendly learning environment. So the basic thing that the bottom line is that they should enjoy it. When monitor goes, essentially it's a random kind of exercise. Would be sitting down in the classroom right from the beginning, preferably to end of it, to see that how the teaching learning in the classroom takes place, how the children are engaged in the process, and the kind of art that teachers applies in the classroom. The monitor would be taking note, and once the classroom is over, teaching for that day, the school day is over, the monitor would be sitting down with the teacher and giving her own feedback in an engaging way. So it's not that what monitor said, that's the end of the world. So the whole objective is to check with the teacher that the kind of comprehension that monitor has, it is the right one. And teacher owns it or has a slightly different opinion, because every single school, every single kid is slightly different from the other. So this is more systematic kind of evaluation that we would be looking essentially on the impact, but ongoing monitoring is fundamentally more important than your terminal exercises. Because on the process, child enjoys it and reaches out of the whole monitoring exercise, but when we do as an impact evaluation, that is good for you, good for the secretariat, good for BRAC as an organization at a policy level. So both are very important and mutually reinforcing and supplementing to each other. So this is the way that you make it more of a learning facilitating instead of controlling. The whole objective is not control, whole objective is not really investigate or inspection. The whole objective is that engagement is there by someone who is not doing the classroom teaching in addition to the teacher on a daily basis.
We feel there's a need for the Aflatoun network to report uniform information right across all country programs. So, thinking about how to measure outputs and outcomes, I want to ask you about how Links uses the Secretariat surveys.
Well, over the years we've tried to use as many of the surveys as possible, and also to make sure that we adhere to the quality standards which are prescribed by Aflatoun. We've used the classroom survey, we've used the younger child survey, the older child survey, we've used a teacher survey, and we also complete the partner survey as well. Because we have a very large population of Aflatoun children in our country, we also have a very large survey sample. So the last survey we actually surveyed about 3,000 children, so it was very, very large survey sample. So we had to train volunteers. So we have a day where, first of all, you have to select the volunteers that are able to carry out the assignment. So if you have volunteers, you might want to look at their background. You know, do they have, if they're graduates, do they have a background in the social sciences, or just some exposure to something that resembles survey or education. The adult is very active because the child cannot fill out the survey themselves. So you have to really train them so that you don't have a situation where they say, oh, would you like to do this? And then all the children say yes, you know, and then you write down 24. So you write down that all the children said yes, because it's sort of like a group thing, you know. So you have to really be careful that you really are able to measure what's actually happening. But also another thing that we do is during the teacher training, we also try to make out time to explain the survey during the teacher training. So they have that understanding, they have that expectation. We don't necessarily believe that quantitative surveys can accurately measure what's going on. So we also have direct observation. We have monitors that go out to the schools on the days of the clubs, and they just pretend to be hanging out. But they also have an observation sheet, which they don't fill out at the school, they fill out when they come home. We also hold focus groups at the school level and also with the teachers, because we have midway programs, like we have the Aflatoun camp. When we have enough resources, we also have a midway teacher training and evaluation. We do a public report, and the results are available to all of them. We send the reports to their school. Aflatoun has a lot of outcomes and outputs that are not necessarily captured in the survey. And also, because our programs are contextualized to a very country-specific model, we have many outputs that are not measured by the Aflatoun survey. For example, in Nigeria, we use a lot of civic education in our Aflatoun curriculum. You know, so we teach children about their history, about their country, how to be a good citizen, you know, as part of the personal exploration and rights and responsibilities. And a lot of those outputs are not captured by the Aflatoun survey. So I think there needs to be room for integration of questions. And I think that the next time that we implement the survey, we're probably going to make sure that we include more country-specific questions.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you.